Was Miss Heard dating Mr. Depp when you first started working for her?
Yes.
When did you first learn that Miss Heard was dating Mr. Depp?
After about a month, I think.
How did you learn that she was dating Mr. Depp?
She told me.
What did she tell you?
She told me she was dating Johnny Depp.
Do you recall the first time you met Mr. Depp?
Yes.
When was that?
It was in her apartment on Orange, probably shortly after she told me she was dating him. He was standing in the dining room.
And approximately when was that?
I don't remember. I would say April or May of 2012.
What was your impression of Mr. Depp?
He was very peaceful, very calm, almost shy, and very quiet. And I remember he was wearing red suede shoes because I didn't know where else to look. I looked at his shoes. It was it's a weird recollection, I know, but I'm just being honest.
Did you ever witness Mr. Depp be rude to anyone?
He's such a gentleman. He's like a total Southern gentleman. So no.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp lose his cool?
No.
Did you ever see him scream at anyone?
No.
Did you ever see him break something?
Only in a video.
In your presence, did you ever see Mr. Depp break something intentionally?
Never break anything, never throw anything, always completely passive.
I believe you've testified previously that you have a son, correct?
Yes.
How old was your son when you first started working for Miss Heard?
4 years old.
And did you ever bring your son to work with you?
Yes.
How often?
Quite often, if I had to keep working, I would bring him back there after school. And if I had to work on the weekends, he would come with me then.
Did Mr. Depp ever interact with your son?
Yes, he was very kind.
How often did Mr. Depp interact with your son?
Whenever they were in each other's presence.
Can you give me an estimate of how often that happened?
Oh, countless times. He would even teach him how to play guitar. He brought him back from vacations. He showed him his amazing makeup makeover when he was doing Black Mass. He tricked him. He leant over and was saying, "Do you know who I am?" And he had the full makeup on his son's jaw, almost hit the ground. It was really cute, actually. Yeah. He gave my son a little pick as well, a guitar pick, which he cherishes to this day as well.
Fair to say you were around Mr. Depp and Miss Heard together quite a lot.
Yeah, it became increasingly more as the time went on. Yeah.
What was your impression of Miss Heard and Mr. Depp's relationship?
It did not seem like a perfect relationship to me, based on a lot of insecurity on her behalf, which seemed to cause confusion in the relationship. Maybe the age gap was an issue because of their interests. I know that much. Apart from that, who am I to know the relationship, you know?
Do you think that Mr. Depp was smothering of Miss Heard?
Oh, yeah.
Did it appear to you that Mr. Depp was jealous of Miss Heard?
No.
Did you ever have interactions with Mr. Depp by yourself?
Sometimes, yeah.
And what were those interactions like?
Just friendly chit-chat, which would stop immediately when Amber saw me speaking to him. She'd give me the evil eye and I'd know to just quickly walk away.
Did Amber ever talk to you about your interactions with Mr. Depp?
No.
In the 3 years that you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp argue?
No.
In the 3 years that you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see any physical violence between Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp?
Never.
Did you ever see either of them being physically aggressive with one another?
No.
Did you ever see any property damage at Ms. Heard's home?
Never.
Did you ever see any property damage at Mr. Depp's primary residence on Sweetser?
Never.
Did you ever see any property damage at the lofts or the penthouses at the Eastern Columbia building?
No. No, never.
Over the 3-year period in which you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever hear from anyone that Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard had been in a physical altercation?
No.
Over the 3-year period in which you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever see Ms. Heard be physically aggressive with anyone?
No.
Let's break that down a bit. When you say she was verbally abusive to you regularly, can you explain to me how she was verbally abusive to you?
Screaming over the phone. She screamed at me once in person, multiple times screaming at me over the phone. Barrages of abusive text messages, day and night, a lot of them in the middle of the night, I think you're aware. I think between 2 and 4 a.m. the barrage would start. That's what I'd wake up to. All incoherent, not really making sense, just basically someone to lash out at, you know, no apparent reason to it.
You testified previously that you observed Ms. Heard be verbally abusive to her sister.
Yes.
What do you recall about that?
It was ongoing kick the dog kind of relationship with her sister, so it's really hard to pinpoint any specifics, but her poor sister was treated like the dog that you kick, basically.
You previously testified that you observed Ms. Heard be verbally abusive to her mother.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically did you observe?
Well, there is a video that online where you can see her being abusive first and foremost, so it's not even based on what I'm telling you. It's what I've seen, the interactions between the two of them when her mother was still alive and the fact that her mother was terrified of her.
Did her mother tell you she was terrified of her?
She personally told me she was terrified of her.
Did you ever witness Ms. Heard tongue lash her mother?
Here and there, yes. Especially when it was build up to a stressful event or something like that, yeah.
You said you felt that Ms. Heard was verbally abusive to you. Can you provide me with any specific examples of this behavior?
Well, I thought I did earlier, but yeah, it was just so random and ongoing. You would never know when it was going to come left of centre. I do remember on one occasion when we were moving from part-time to full-time and the salary negotiations became a real bone of contention. And I specifically remember standing in her office where she leapt up out of her chair, put her face approximately 4 inches from my face. She was spitting in my face, and telling me how dare I ask for the salary I was asking for, which was in fact approximately half of my regular annual salary. I was offering her that as a favor, and she felt that gave her the right to spit in my face. And there was a witness in the apartment at that time, by the way.
Who was at the apartment at the time?
The handyman, Hector Galindo.
I'm sorry?
The handyman, Hector Galindo. He was so mortified. He was so embarrassed to hear her speaking to me like that.
Ms. James, while you worked for Ms. Heard, did you ever observe her drinking alcohol?
Yes, I did.
How often did you observe Ms. Heard drink alcohol?
Don't recall.
What alcohol did you observe Ms. Heard drink in your presence?
Red wine.
Did Ms. Heard ever appear intoxicated to you?
Yes, she often did.
While you worked for Ms. Heard, were you aware of what, if any, prescription drugs she was taking?
Yes, because I had to pick it up and I often had to deliver it to her to set.
You anticipated. I'm sorry, Ms. James, I interrupted your question, or your answer, excuse me. The last part of your answer was to...
It was my job to pick it up and deliver it to her, also bring it to her if she was doing a photo shoot or, on set or something, if she'd forgotten it.
What prescription drugs do you remember picking up from Ms. Heard?
Provigil.
Any other prescription drugs that you remember picking up from Ms. Heard?
Accutane.
Any others?
Not specifically.
To your knowledge, did Ms. Heard ever stop taking Provigil or Accutane while you were working for her?
No.
Did Ms. Heard ever tell you that she was experiencing any side effects from Provigil?
She didn't say it, but I observed it.
We'll go back to that in a minute, but did Ms. Heard ever tell you that she was experiencing any side effects from Accutane?
No.
You previously testified that you observed Ms. Heard having certain side effects from Provigil. Yes?
Yes.
What side effects did you observe Ms. Heard exhibiting?
Manic episodes.
Can you tell me what you mean by manic episodes?
Similar to if someone was on some sort of amphetamine drug. Moving very fast, not making a lot of sense, hyper-organizing, hyper-tasking, just very, very hyper. Yeah.
Besides prescribed medication, did you ever observe Ms. Heard ingest any illicit drugs while you worked for her?
No.
Did Ms. Heard ever tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
Yes.
When did Ms. Heard tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
Sporadically here and there.
What drugs did Ms. Heard tell you she had ingested?
Mushrooms, ecstasy, and cocaine.
If you remember, how many times did Ms. Heard tell you that she had ingested illegal drugs?
I can't remember.
Based on your personal observations, did it ever appear to you that Ms. Heard was under the influence of illegal drugs?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't know.
Less than 5?
It's so long ago, it's hard for me to remember.
Why did it appear to you that Ms. Heard was under the influence of illegal drugs?
Disoriented, partying with friends, lots of heavy drinking, laughing, dancing, playing, all the sorts of things that go hand in hand with imbibing in drugs.
Would Ms. Heard's treatment of you change when she was intoxicated?
Yes.
How so?
She became more and more belligerent and abusive.
Ms. James, you previously testified that you provided testimony in the matter involving Mr. Depp in the United Kingdom. Do you remember that testimony?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how did you provide testimony in the United Kingdom?
Well, I wrote a witness statement and then I had to do a live video feed.
And did you understand that your witness statement was made under oath?
Yes.
And did you understand that your testimony during the trial live was also under oath?
Yes.
Did anyone help you write your witness statement?
Shillings over in the UK helped me with the first draft, and then I took over and completely edited it to be my own words. That was after a phone conversation we had. They jotted down notes, sent me some basic notes to work with, and then I worked on it from there.
How long did it take you to write your witness statement?
About 3 or 4 days.
Did you feel you had an adequate amount of time to prepare and write your witness statement?
Yes, I was very proud with the outcome of how I wrote it because it was all my words and it was the absolute truth.
And did you have enough time to review your witness statement for accuracy before you signed it?
Yes.
Was everything that was in your witness statement true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
And is that still true today?
Yes.
Lucian, may I please have you pull up DEP exhibit number 4, please?
Showing DEP exhibit number 4 on screen.
Thank you. Ms. James, do you remember receiving an email from Ms. Heard on or about February 12th, 2015?
I don't even believe I was still working for that date.
Do you remember receiving this email in particular from February 12th, 2015?
Again, I don't, as far as I know, I wasn't even working for her at that time, so I wouldn't even know why she wrote this letter to me, quite honestly.
Do you remember receiving this email then?
No.
Okay. Can we please pull up exhibit number 5?
Stand by. Showing DEP exhibit number 5 on screen.
Lucian, may I ask you to, there you go, you read my mind. Lucian, may I either take control or have you scroll down to the bottom? Thank you. James, the way these emails tend to work is they start at the bottom and then go up. And this one is no exception. So I'm going to, for your ease, I'm going to have you read the bottom email first, since it's the first one in the chain, dated February 3rd, 2015.
Looks like she was traveling straight to London after the wedding. That's what I'm reading.
Do you remember, actually, you know what? Why don't you read this entire email chain, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about it.
Can you help me? Oh no, now it's moving. I don't know. It's being finicky.
No, do you have control of this?
I do have control. Sorry, Miss James.
Yeah, I can go up a bit more now.
Do you remember receiving these emails from Miss Heard?
Not really, no. No.
Do you see where Miss Heard on February 4th, 2015 writes in all caps, "Are there no direct flights?" Question mark, exclamation. I'm just pointing her to the top email, Mr. Rottenborn. Do you see where Miss Heard writes to you, "Are there no direct flights?" in all caps?
Yeah.
You would agree with me that nowhere else in this email chain Miss Heard uses all caps just to write to you, correct?
No, there's not. She seems very confused. That's all I can say. When I'm reading through this, she just seems to be very confused. And the thing is like if that question were to be directed to anyone, it should have been to the travel agent, not me. I mean, I'm not the travel agent. The travel agent was down there in the beginning, Trudy Sullivan.
Directing your attention, Ms. James, to May of 2014, when you met Ms. Heard at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles, California. Do you remember your testimony about that incident? You testified previously that Ms. Heard asked you to bring a bathing suit to the hotel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you see Ms. Heard wearing a bathing suit in May of 2014 at the Chateau Marmont?
Yes.
Based on your recollection, did you see any bruises on Ms. Heard's body?
No.
Did you see any red marks on Ms. Heard's body?
No.
How would you describe the general atmosphere or mood of Ms. Heard and her friends at the Chateau Marmont?
To be honest, it seemed a little conspiratorial to me.
How so?
Like a strategy meeting or something, and combined with a pool party. Hard to describe. It was very confusing. Originally, I thought I was going over for some major emergency, but then something else completely different was going on that day.
What made you think something completely different was going on that day?
Well, because originally it made it seem like she was having this major emergency and she was completely alone and she needed me very badly to come as quickly as possible. But when I got there, she was surrounded by people. Savannah, Io, Tillett Wright, and Rocky specifically, Raquel Pennington.
What was the second name you said? I got Rocky and who?
Io, Tillett Wright. It's the letter I, the letter O. Tillett Wright.
Did you observe Ms. Hurd showing what appeared to be injuries to any of her friends at the chateau that day?
No.
Did it appear to you that Ms. Hurd's friends were comforting her? How would you describe Ms. Hurd's friends' behavior?
Friends hanging out together by the pool, having cocktails and spending the entire afternoon hanging around together.
Did you ever learn information that made you believe that one of the reasons that their relationship between Johnny and Amber wasn't, as you described, perfect was because of Johnny's substance abuse?
I couldn't speculate on the details of their personal relationship.
You did testify earlier that one of the reasons you thought their relationship wasn't perfect was insecurity on Amber's part, though, right?
Yes.
So you developed an opinion that insecurity on Amber's part affected their relationship, but you did not develop an opinion that substance abuse or any actions by Johnny affected their relationship. Is that right?
That statement was based on communications directed to me from Amber, basically.
What communications specifically?
Expressing, exactly what I just stated. That she was sad, she didn't want to be away from him, blah, 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 that sort of thing. That would happen all the time.
And you believe that those statements were the reason that their relationship wasn't perfect?
It's not for me to speculate.
You would agree that just because someone is insecure in a relationship does not mean that she deserves to be abused, correct?
I have no answer for you for that.
You would agree that even if someone acts quote-unquote smothering in a relationship doesn't mean she deserves to be abused, correct?
I don't have an answer for you for that.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning recess for 15 minutes. No outside research, do not talk about the case, right? Okay, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and take a break until noon. Is your next witness, all right, we're going to set it up so it's all ready to go in next. Okay, I really appreciate that. Okay, thank you. We'll be in recess till noon.